All right, so let's dive in. You've got this incredible business idea, something you're truly passionate about, and you're ready to kind of take on the world. That's fantastic. But as we explored in this deep dive we've analyzed for you, having a good idea, it's really just the first step on that entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. It's like that initial spark of inspiration, that aha moment. But transforming that spark into a sustainable, thriving business, that takes a whole lot more
Mm.
than just a good idea.
It's almost like there's this hidden blueprint that successful entrepreneurs have,
Yeah.
and we're trying to kind of uncover those secrets, those essential elements that can help make any great idea a success.
Absolutely. This deep dive we reviewed highlights some of those elements, and one of the most intriguing ones is risk appetite.
Now, when I hear risk,
Yeah.
I automatically think about money. But it sounds like we're talking about something much broader here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of course, financial risk is a major part of it. You're investing your own resources, and there's always the chance that you won't see a return on that investment. But it goes beyond that. Think about the time you're investing, the opportunity cost of not pursuing other career paths, even the potential impact on your personal life
Yeah.
and relationships.
Wow, I hadn't really considered it that way before. It's like this multifaceted risk. And being an entrepreneur means being comfortable with a certain level of uncertainty across all those areas.
Precisely. There's this inherent leap of faith involved in entrepreneurship. It's
Okay.
about having the courage to step outside your comfort zone,
Yeah.
knowing that you might face setbacks, and being willing to make decisions. That could have significant consequences.
This deep dive used a great example. Imagining you're launching a new social media app. Sounds exciting. But how do you even begin to turn that concept into a concrete plan? That's where strategic planning comes in, right?
Absolutely. And this is where a lot of entrepreneurs stumble. They get so excited about their idea
Yeah.
that they neglect the crucial step of developing a solid strategic plan.
So what does that strategic planning process actually look like? What are some of the key elements we need to consider?
Well, first and foremost, you need to define your target audience. Who are you building this app for? What are their needs, their pain points, their aspirations? If you're building a social media app for everyone, you're essentially building it for no one.
Right. It's about finding that niche, that specific group of people who will truly benefit from your product.
Exactly. Then you need to analyze the existing market. Who are your competitors? What are they doing well? And where are their weaknesses? How will your app stand out in a crowded marketplace?
It's almost like conducting a reconnaissance mission before going into battle. You need to know the terrain, the enemy, and your own strengths and weaknesses.
That's a great analogy. Strategic planning is all about gathering intel,
Yep.
analyzing the situation, and devising a plan. That maximizes your chances of success. And a key part of that plan is figuring out your revenue model. How will this app generate income to sustain itself in the long run?
This is where the dream meets the reality of business.
Right.
You need to turn that amazing idea into something that's financially viable.
Exactly. You need to figure out if you're going to go with a subscription model, an advertising-based model, or perhaps some kind of freemium option. There's so many different avenues to explore.
So we've talked about risk appetite and strategic planning. What about the people involved? Is it even possible to build a successful business alone?
That's a great question. And it brings us to another crucial element highlighted in the deep dive: team and leadership. And, you don't necessarily need a huge team to be successful.
Hold on. So even if I'm a solopreneur working from my home office, I still need to think about team and leadership.
Absolutely. Even if you're a one-person show, you still need a network of support, mentors,
Yeah.
advisors, fellow entrepreneurs, even supportive friends and family. These are the people who can offer different perspectives, help you stay focused, and be your cheerleaders when things get tough.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like having a personal board of directors,
Yeah.
even if it's just a small,
Yeah.
informal group.
Exactly. And even if you don't have employees, you're still the leader of your venture. You're setting the vision, making the key decisions, and ultimately responsible for steering the ship in the right direction.
So leadership is more about mindset than it is about having a fancy title. It's about taking ownership and driving your vision forward.
Precisely. And strong leadership is essential, even in the early stages of building a business.
So let's say you've got a great idea. You're willing to take risks. You've developed a solid strategic plan. And you've got your support network in place. But how do you know if your idea actually solves a real problem for people? How do you make sure you're not just building something you love, but something that the market actually needs.
That's where market research comes in.
Okay, now market research sounds a little intimidating. Are we talking about complex surveys and focus groups?
Not necessarily. It could be much simpler than you think.
So what does market research look like for someone who's just starting out?
It can be as simple as talking to people in your target market. Find out what their pain points are, what they wish existed. See what your competitors are doing, and read those online reviews. Look for gaps that your product could fill. You'll find a ton of valuable insights.
It's almost like turning into an investigator for your own idea.
Yeah.
I like that. So let's say you've done your research, found a real need, and you're feeling good, but markets change all the time, right?
Right.
What happens when things shift and you need to adapt?
Yeah.
And I imagine that could be a real challenge for a new business.
Absolutely. That's where flexibility and adaptability come in this podcast episode. Stress those is key. For any entrepreneur, you might have this clear vision in mind, but you have to be ready to adjust course along the way. Think of it like navigating a winding road, you know, your destination.
Yeah.
But those curves come up and you have to steer accordingly.
That makes a lot of sense. And it makes me think about this concept of pivoting that gets thrown around a lot in the business world. It's about more than just small adjustments, right? It's about being willing to make significant changes to your strategy, maybe even your entire business model based on what you're learning.
Exactly. It's about having the courage to say, okay, our initial plan isn't working as well as we'd hoped. What do we need to change to make this succeed? A great example is a company that started out selling physical products, but realized there was a bigger need for a service related to those products. They pivoted their entire business model to focus on that service, and it turned out to be a game changer.
That's fascinating. It takes a lot of courage to step back and say, we need to make a major shift. And it probably requires a certain mindset, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about reacting to change. It's about anticipating it and being open to those new directions. How do you develop that kind of entrepreneurial instinct?
It's a mix of staying informed, being open to new ideas, and experimenting. You need to keep your finger on the pulse of your industry. Read those trade publications and talk to other entrepreneurs. Don't be afraid to test new things and see what resonates with your market. You'll get better at recognizing patterns and adapting to change.
You've got to stay curious. It reminds me of this podcast episode we analyzed a while back about the importance of continuous learning that resonated with me. It's not enough to just launch your business. You have to keep evolving and growing right alongside it.
Absolutely. Especially in today's world, the business landscape changes so rapidly that if you're not constantly learning, you'll quickly fall behind. Whether it's reading industry publications, taking courses, attending workshops, or connecting with other entrepreneurs, make it a habit to invest in your own development. It's an investment in your business's future.
And it's not just about keeping up, right?
Right.
It's about finding those unexpected opportunities, those new ideas that can really take your business to the next level.
Exactly. The more you learn, the more you'll realize how much there is to know. You might stumble upon a new technology, a new marketing strategy, or even an entirely new market that you hadn't even considered before.
It opens up these new possibilities that you wouldn't have seen. Otherwise, it's exciting. So to recap what we've learned from this deep dive, a good idea is crucial, but it's only the starting point you need that risk appetite, a solid strategic plan, a strong support network, and the willingness to constantly adapt and learn.
And the ability to do your market research. It's easy to get caught up in your own vision and forget to check whether it aligns with what your potential customers want.
That's a great point. You need to validate that idea, make sure it resonates with your target market. So for our listener out there, the one with that amazing business idea brewing, what's the most important takeaway from all of this? What should they be thinking about right now?
I think the most important thing is to remember that building a successful business is a journey.
It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Exactly. And there's no one-size-fits-all approach. What works for one entrepreneur might not work for another. It's about taking these key principles we've discussed: risk, strategy, team building, market research, adaptability, and continuous learning, and figuring out how they apply to your unique situation.
It's like having all the ingredients. For a delicious meal, you still need to know how to combine them in the right way to create something amazing.
I love that analogy. And that's where your creativity, passion, and determination really come in. Those are the secret ingredients that will set your venture apart.
So as you're listening to this, think about your idea. Which of these areas might need more attention? Maybe you're naturally comfortable with risk, but strategic planning isn't your strong suit. Or perhaps you need to brush up on your market research skills or build out your support network.
Whatever it is, remember that every successful entrepreneur started somewhere. They had moments of doubt, they faced challenges, and they probably made a few mistakes along the way. But they kept learning, they kept adapting, and most importantly, they kept that passion burning.
And that's what will ultimately fuel your success. So keep dreaming big, keep learning, and keep pushing those boundaries. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll be doing a deep dive on your success story.
I can't wait to see what you accomplish.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.